Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you 7 items that you can get or tips that you can use to make your art life easier. Now some of these ideas you may have seen in my earlier videos, so this video is going to compile all those little tricks. Let's start with this. You know those pigmented ink bottles that usually have the problem of the binder solution separating from the pigment? This is what I'm talking about. You can see the binder solution here and the pigment, they have separated. So you could shake it, but it's going to take a long time for the pigment and binder solution to mix properly together. Or you can use this trick that I'm about to tell you that was actually suggested by a viewer on my YouTube channel. Just find some small ball bearings or plastic beads and drop them into the bottle and start shaking. This will help mix up the pigment and binder solution. And now you can shake this and it will mix whatever that's inside very easily, very quickly. This is actually the same trick that is used in some paint markers. The type of ball bearing you should get should be stainless steel so that it doesn't rust. In an earlier version of the video that I uploaded yesterday, I was using silver plated beads. I've no idea what's beneath the surface coating, whether it's plastic or if it's metal. If it's plastic, it's alright because plastic doesn't rust, but if it's metal, I'm not sure whether or not the metal can withstand rusting, which is why I had to take down the video so as not to spread harmful information online. So get stainless steel, or you can get plastic beads like this. They are sold for many purposes, like for knitting, for jewelry, or for art and craft purposes. You can find them pretty easily. If you want to use plastic beads, I suggest using something that is smaller than the one that I'm holding here. This is about 9mm, which is around 1/3 of an inch. Smaller is better because the smaller beads will be able to hit the corners of the ink bottle. The ball bearing that I have here is about 1/4 inch or 6mm. I'll put a link in the video description below to where you can find a container of ball bearings. The one that I saw is 4mm, which is a good size. This is the one that I'm referring to. There are 400 stainless steel ball bearings in this container and it's less than $7 US. That's not inclusive of shipping, so you can drop 2 ball bearings into a bottle like this. The second tip is using hooks like this to hang your bag wherever you want. These hooks, they come in different sizes. Even a small one like this is really strong. So you can hang it onto a fence or onto a railing and you can hang your bag from it. I use this a lot. When you hang your bag with the hook, do still keep an eye out for your bag so that they don't get stolen. Now there is another variation of this particular hook. This is a collapsible hook that you can fold into this compact shape. When it opens up, it's like this. So this area here, this is actually flat. So you can place this on a table and you can hang your bag from the table. This is really useful as well. This is another design. So the flat part here, it can come in different designs. So this is a heart. This is not collapsible. I prefer the collapsible one and the normal typical one. The third tip is on how you can refill your brush pens or even fountain pens when they run out of ink and you are not using ink converters. So you can get one of those blunt needle and syringes. This is a blunt needle. This is a brush pen that no longer has any ink, so you can basically fill up the blunt needle with ink and just squeeze the ink into the brush pen or whatever fountain pen that you are using. This is very inexpensive and it works really well. Getting those disposable cartridges can be quite expensive over time, so using this trick can save you a lot of money. I will put the link to where you can find this blunt needle and syringe in the video description below. Fourth trick is to get a mister. Again, this is very affordable. You can find them in a thrift store. So fill it up with water. It does 2 things. First, you can use it to make your paint wet so that they are softer and easier to pick up with your brush. It works really well. The second use for this is to wet your watercolor paper so that you can achieve wet on wet techniques. This trick will keep the paper surface wet for a longer period of time so that you have more time to work with your painting. You don't have to rush, and this is especially useful if you are painting in a climate that is dry, where the water dries very quickly. If you have watched my other YouTube videos, you know that I don't use this often because I don't want to pack a lot of items. So when I don't have this mister with me, I usually use my watercolor brush, dip into water and put droplets of water onto the pens here. But if you have this, it's so much easier. You just have to spray and you can see the paints. They are now wet and easier for you to pick up the paint. The fifth trick is regarding these metal watercolor boxes. These are the very typical 12 half pan boxes. Now, if you want to fit more paint into the box, you can actually remove this plate here and put in empty plastic pans like this. So once you have taken out this plate, you can fit in a lot more colors. You can fit in a mixture of full pans and half pans. For the colors that you use up frequently, you can put them into the full pans. For the colors that you use less often, or if you want a lot more colors, you can use the half pans. Now these pans here, they are a bit shaky, so if you were to close your box and put it in your bag, the pans may move around. So you can use this blue tack here. Just pull a little bit of blue tack and stick it to the bottom and press it down like this. So see how it sticks on? So you can put this blue tack onto every little half pan to prevent them from moving around. Very effective. These empty pens, they are quite affordable as well. I bought them on eBay for less than $2 equivalent. You get 10 pieces. I'll put the link to where you can find them in the video description below. This comes with free shipping. When you fill up your plastic pans with your own tube colors, it can save you a lot of money in the long run. A 15 ml tube like this can fill up a full pan 7 times, a half pan 14 times. The next tip is something that I use very often, and it's to use the white gel pen or the white gouache to paint back the highlights, to use the white gel pen to draw the lines. So for example, with this particular sketch, it would be very difficult for me to use the masking fluid to preserve the white of the paper for these lines here, for the vertical lines, for the windows. So it's so much easier to just uncap the white gel pen and draw those lines in. Same thing here, sometimes I make some mistake. I paint over the white of the paper. To bring back the white, I can use the opaque white gouache and just paint back the white here. This is white gouache, and for the lines, they were drawn with the white gel pen. And you can use the white gel pen to write words as well. It's really useful. White gel pens come in different sizes. I recommend you get the broad and the medium, because if you get the thin line, the contrast between the thin line and your watercolor is not going to be very strong, and I find that with thinner lines, it's sometimes very difficult to have the lines appear on the paper. With the medium tip or the broad tip, it's much easier to draw and write on the paper. Alright, one last tip for you. Now before I switch over to using the portable painter palette with the water trays, I would actually reuse some other bottles so that I can bring them out to wash my watercolor brush. And these are 2 bottles that I used to use. This is a Nutella bottle. This is a plastic bottle. Very lightweight because it's plastic, and because it's plastic, it's very safe. You can drop it onto the ground and nothing will break. The good thing about this bottle is, well, it's lightweight and the opening here is big, so I would fill this up with water and I can just put my watercolor brush inside and wash it very easily. You can see how dirty the cap is. I've been using this for a few years before I switched over to using this. So now I'm no longer using this. The downside to this is because this is plastic, it's very lightweight. Sometimes it would actually topple over. So the alternative is to use a heavier glass bottle. If you want to use an ink bottle that you already have, look for one with a large opening. There are some ink bottles with smaller openings. It's very dangerous for the watercolor brush because you may actually hit the edge of the opening and it may damage the brush. So look for ink bottles with a large opening. So this will enable you to move your brush into the bottle for cleaning very easily. I don't use this as much because this is much heavier compared to this plastic bottle. I just realized that I have some clips on my table, so these are pretty essential items as well. I use them to clip my sketchbook to make the buckling pages flat, to keep them flat. I also use them to clip the pages while I'm painting so that the pages, they don't fly around when there is wind. These are pretty essential items as well. So these are the little tips and tricks that I know of. If you have any on your own, I would love to hear from you. Share them in the comment section. I may be able to make a video based on your tips and tricks and they can help a lot of people. So thanks for watching today's video. I hope this is helpful. See you in the next one. Bye!